The second best conference in college football, not the second best quarterback conference in the land. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis based on your engagement and participation. All right, we have knocked out our conference power rankings post-spring. Check them out, including the Big Ten. Now we take a look at the quarterbacks in the Big Ten Conference and a weak spot at the most important position for the Big Ten. It was that case last year, despite having C.J. Stroud and Peyton Thorne and Aiden O'Connell, who I believe to be the second best quarterback in the conference when healthy. And they missed those guys. And so they're coming back with a lot of uncertainty at the position and no proven great players as of yet. Let's run it down, starting at number 14. And the worst quarterback situation in the conference at Rutgers. Gavin Wimsatt would be the starter, we would think. He played 10 games last season, 5 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. At number 14, the Rutgers quarterbacks. Gavin Wimsatt most likely the starter. At number 13 is actually a more uncertain quarterback situation, but I'm a better believer and bigger believer in the talent at this position for the Indiana Hoosiers than what they have in Piscataway at Rutgers. Dexter Williams had a horrific knee injury against Purdue in the final game of 2022, which required surgery, structural damage. He is still trying to recover and get back from that. He led a comeback impressively against Michigan State last year and thrown into the fire after replacing Connor Bazelak and responded well despite not great passing numbers, more runner than passer. Now we've got 3 freshmen to look at Indiana. They include Taven Jackson, the incoming transfer from Tennessee, Brendan Sorsby, and Brock Lowry, who led a state high school championship at Canfield, Ohio. Basically no experience from these 3 freshmen, and Dexter Williams trying to make it back. Indiana has a ton of options, but not a whole lot of proven commodities there at Indiana. Our number 13 situation would be Dexter Williams and Indiana for Big Ten quarterbacking. At number 12, we go to Michigan State, which would have ranked much higher about a week ago, but Peyton Thorne did not like being left out to dry in regards to his starting status after starting 2 seasons at Michigan State. Of course, an 11-win campaign 2 years ago, a Peach Bowl victory and a top 10 finish. Peyton Thorne says, I should be the starting quarterback. There should be no competition. Well, there was, and therefore he's off to Auburn. The starting quarterback at Michigan State looks to be Noah Kim, who turned in 19 pass attempts last season, 3 touchdowns, 14 of 19. Again, Peyton Thorne's gone to Auburn. Therefore, Noah Kim is your starting quarterback at Michigan State and what we consider to be, at this point, the 12th best quarterback in the Big Ten. Our number 11 quarterback in the Big Ten is Minnesota's Ethan Kaliakmanis. And because of Tanner Morgan's injuries in 2022, Kaliakmanis received some valuable playing time. In particular, he performed well in a season-ending win against Wisconsin. 19 of 29, 319 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks against a top-notch Badger defense as Minnesota won that game. Now, Tanner Morgan, of course, was known for that big breakout season in 2019, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but I believe Kaliakmanis is potentially a better quarterback, more upside, and now he's got some valuable experience with 111 pass attempts in the Big Ten. Ethan Kaliakmanis, 54% passer in 2022, is our number 11 quarterback in the Big Ten. Northwestern received a much-needed transfer at the quarterback position late in the offseason here, with Ben Bryant coming in from Cincinnati, our number 10 quarterback in the Big Ten. The grad transfer is coming into a 6th season of eligibility as a grad transfer, 21 touchdowns, 7 picks for the Bearcats in 2022. He had a 9-2 record as a starting quarterback there at Cincinnati this past season before his campaign was cut short due to injury. Brendan Sullivan, the starting quarterback for much of 2022. Ryan Helinski, of course, has the most experience coming into this quarterback battle in August, starting at South Carolina and at Northwestern, but he was often injured last season and still could not participate in spring drills because of said injuries. He was the starter for the first 6 games, but we believe Ben Bryant will be the starting quarterback at Northwestern, the number 10 quarterback in the Big Ten. The NCAA denied Tommy DeVito's request to come back for another season at Illinois. So the Illini will be inexperienced at that position, but talented with Luke Altmyer, the Ole Miss transfer, as the starting quarterback for Brett Bielema. The former four-star was the 21st rated quarterback in his class out of Starkville, Mississippi. He replaced Matt Corral in the 2021 Sugar Bowl, completed 15 of 28 passes for a touchdown against Baylor. He had one start this past season against Central Arkansas, completed 6 of 13. Luke Altmyer is not proven at this point, but has a lot of talent, and he has performed on a big stage in the Sugar Bowl, and he's Illinois' starting quarterback and our number 9 quarterback in the Big Ten. I mentioned Aiden O'Connell being the second best quarterback in the Big Ten when healthy. Well, unfortunately, he wasn't healthy much in 2022, and his performance fell off considerably from his 21 performance. Now Purdue has a new head coach, of course, with Ryan Walters. They also have a different approach at quarterback with a much more versatile guy and dual threat guy in Hudson Cade from Texas. Hudson Cade, watch the Bama game from last season. He came in for an injured Quinn Ewers, and he took Bama down to the wire, played extremely well despite having a bad ankle, and that took much of his game away from him because, again, he's a dual threat that relies on running the football. His last game played at Texas, 21 of 27 against West Virginia, 303 yards and 3 touchdowns with no picks. Hudson Cade, despite being pushed aside by the likes of Quinn Ewers and others at Texas, Casey Thompson was a highly sought-after high school recruit. He's a talented player. Purdue may have a better option at quarterback, even though O'Connell can sling it better. Cade brings that dual threat and mobility to the position for Purdue and is our 8th best starting quarterback in the Big Ten. At one point when approaching this video, we expected to spit out the name of Casey Thompson at Nebraska, but lo and behold, Jeff Sims took hold of that starting job, forced Casey Thompson to transfer to FAU. We saw Jeff Sims during the spring game. He performed extremely well. We're not going to blow that out of proportion in regards to the vanilla defense that he faced and so forth. Jeff Sims played marginally at Georgia Tech, but we got to consider just about every time he stepped on the field with the Yellow Jackets, he had an inferior supporting cast against strong defenses to a certain extent in the ACC. So the stats not great at Georgia Tech, but here's a dual threat quarterback who was highly recruited coming out of high school, landed first of all as a commitment at Florida State, went to Georgia Tech, ended up playing Florida State in his first game and helped out in a big comeback effort in Tallahassee. Again, the numbers are not remarkable. He got nicked up a little bit his last couple seasons, but he beat out Casey Thompson, who led the Big 12 in touchdown passes 2 years ago and who I thought was a top 5 or 6 quarterback in the league. We had Zach Smith on here just days after Jeff Sims transferred from Georgia Tech to Nebraska, and he said, based on his sources, that this would be the starting quarterback in Nebraska, and lo and behold, he surprised a lot of people. Our number 7 quarterback in the Big Ten is Nebraska's Jeff Sims. Cade McNamara can claim something nobody else on this list can claim. He's a 2-time Big Ten champion, and of course, the first time he was the starting quarterback with the Maize and Blue. The 2021 Big Ten champion is our number 6 quarterback in the conference. Cade McNamara did not start, of course, last season. He lost the battle in August, and then that 3-game audition against J.J. McCarthy, but that, no shame in that. J.J. McCarthy's a 5-star. We all expected him to take the reins in Ann Arbor. Cade McNamara first stepped on the field in 2020 against Rutgers. Michigan was about to be embarrassed. They trailed, led a huge comeback, overtime win, and took the reins from there. And of course, again, even though a run-reliant team in 2021, when he had to throw it, 15 touchdowns, 6 picks, a leader will make great decisions, takes over an Iowa offense that seems to be a good fit for him, and he is a much-needed commodity, again, based on his skill set for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Our number 6 quarterback in the Big Ten, Cade McNamara, Iowa. Now we get to our top 5 quarterbacks in the Big Ten for 2023 and another incoming transfer, Tanner Mordecai from SMU to Wisconsin, where with the Mustangs he threw 39 and 33 touchdowns the past 2 seasons. A lot of people watched that spring game performance and 3 or 4 interceptions for Tanner Mordecai. Don't worry about it. Luke Fickell knows what he's doing. Phil Longo needing some time to integrate what they did successfully at Wisconsin, of course, with Braylon Allen being the centerpiece of the offense and then trying to mix that in the power run game with spreading people out and taking advantage of Mordecai and a more updated offense. Of course, Mordecai played in the Group of Five conference, the American Conference, the best of those five. Look at his statistics against Power 5 competition. He took Maryland down to the wire on the road in College Park, a Maryland team that finished 8-5 with a maybe not a great defense, but a fast, athletic defense. 369 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks against the Terps. 6 touchdowns passing the last 2 seasons against TCU, including the undefeated TCU team that went to the college football playoff. 27 for 37 against BYU in the bowl matchup for the Mustangs last season. Our number 5 quarterback in the Big Ten is Tanner Mordecai, Wisconsin. Now we go to the guy who might be the most important player in the Big Ten. He's the starting quarterback at Ohio State, we expect, although he's still being pushed by one Devin Brown, and that's, of course, Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord did not look great in the spring game. The reports out of spring was that he played fairly well, but did not overwhelm anyone. So we are weighing what he's proven, which is next to nothing. He had 1 start against Akron, played okay, and then he played the spring game. Versus his high school scouting report is, of course, exceptional, or he would not be in this position. He's a 5-star. But on the other hand, we also have the legacy of recent Ohio State quarterbacks. J.T. Barrett did not have starting experience. He was thrown into that role the final week of camp when Braxton Miller got hurt. Lo and behold, they won a national championship. Even though Barrett was not on the field, he had a great season, was multi-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. Then, of course, after that, it was Dwayne Haskins, who only threw a couple passes against Michigan, albeit in the clutch the previous season. First-time starter, throws 50 touchdown passes. Then it's Justin Fields, who did nothing but run the Wildcat at Georgia, steps on the field at Ohio State, throws 41 touchdowns and 3 picks, and leads the Buckeyes to the playoffs. And then C.J. Stroud, of course, a record setter and maybe the best passer of the football in the history of Ohio State football. So we got Kyle McCord not showing us much yet, unproven, versus the Ohio State legacy, the Ryan Day offense, and what he should be able to do. I've got to go with the latter to a certain extent, but at this point, we're going to keep Kyle McCord at number 4, but don't be surprised if he has the best stats in the Big Ten come season's end. At number 4 in the Big Ten is Kyle McCord, OSU. Same situation for our number 3 quarterback in the Big Ten. As soon as I saw him step onto the field against Purdue in West Lafayette, week 1, big game, conference game, he only threw 4 passes, but man, the ball leaves his hand. He can sling it. He can spin it with ease. The arm talent is exceptional. He's a 5-star. Drew Allar of Penn State. Now, he did get to throw 60 passes last season, most of them meaningless aside from what I just mentioned against Purdue. Mop-up time, big leads in games, 35 of 60. Didn't look great in the spring game. But he's been on the field, and I got to expect that he's going to be ready to roll and going to be one of the very best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. And keep in mind, my rankings are not based on statistics. I'm not taking into account supporting cast, offensive line, weapons, style of offense. I'm just basically saying these, at this point, are the 14 best quarterbacks in the Big Ten numbered in this sequence. For example, Bryce Young had done nothing at Alabama, and I rated him as the number 2 quarterback in the country. And people thought I was crazy, and he won the Heisman Trophy. All right, so that's how we're approaching it. So there is a bit of projection here. Our number 3 quarterback in the Big Ten is Penn State's Drew Allar. Then there were 2. And we go to Maryland and Talia Tagovailoa as the second best quarterback in the Big Ten. 18 touchdowns, 8 picks in 2022 after a 26 touchdown, 11 pick year in 2021. He's got a reputation as being a little careless with the football with it in the air, but again, only 8 interceptions and 67% throwing. He's got exceptional arm talent. He's a really good player. He's got talent around him at Maryland. The numbers should continue to rise for him. He's got a running game to support. They got a really good offense at Maryland, although he's missing some of his best wide receivers from last season, but they plug in the next guys. And Talia Tagovailoa, just watch him play. He is among the best in the Big Ten. I've got him at number 2 from Maryland. Number 1 quarterback in the Big Ten is J.J. McCarthy of Michigan. This is no slam dunk, though, By season's end, I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle McCord was the best, or Drew Allar was the best, or Talia Tagovailoa. My money would be on either McCord or Allar emerging as the best quarterback in the Big Ten. But as it stands right now, 22 touchdowns, 5 picks, exceptional elusiveness and escapability out of J.J. McCarthy, and that was his calling card before he figured out what to do. And let's keep in mind that he had really no off season last year. He was injured coming off of the bowl game against Georgia in the playoffs the year before, and he had to battle through that, and he really didn't get the reps until August, and he still won the job over a good Cade McNamara, and he had a really good season. I know he gets criticized for the 2 pick sixes in the playoff game, and they were bad decisions, bad throws, and really cost Michigan probably a shot at the national championship the next week, but that's what it is. He only threw 5 picks last year. He's supported by a great running game. And again, I'm not basing this on projected statistics, but who I simply believe are the best players right now. Again, don't be surprised if I'm ranking Allar and or McCord above McCarthy at the end of the season. But for right now, it's J.J. McCarthy at number 1 in the Big Ten. Your thoughts below on our Big Ten quarterback rankings for 2023. And we will keep it rolling, as we always do, right here at the Voice of College Football.